So this part two.
Yes, part two is already posted, so right now we're going to.
Yeah, I know. I saw this one in YouTube.
Okay, good. Whew, okay,
Thank
I
you.
thought no problem.
Nhắn tiếng Trung là hay thôi đó.
Okay, please grab your pencils, your pencil colors, and we're just waiting until it's 2 so we can start our lesson to make sure that everybody is here. And then we are still doing pencil colors, but if you feel that you're more comfortable with just pencils, that's also fine. Uh, Today we are going to be doing something themed, but not very much themed. What we are going to be doing, give me 1 second. This is the lesson. We are going to be creating this pumpkin. It is becoming more of fall, and the weather is getting warmer. So I thought of creating this pumpkin with the many different designs. It is kind of this Zentangle. It is this kind of Zentangle design. So I'll just give you a couple of seconds to think and draw up some patterns and take a picture of this reference image. With fall almost beginning and coming to an end, and transitioning from, the Halloween to Christmas, I thought of maybe creating something for this season. So just take a couple of seconds to take a picture of the pumpkin. And instead of a black and white pumpkin, we will do something colored, but also feel free to do it in black and white if that's something that you're more comfortable with. We will also choose different designs. So not just the circles and the lines. We can do something else if you want to branch into something more creative. Like there are some patterns on this side, like the leafy patterns, and also the spirals on this side. Okay. One more second of just taking a picture, and then we will begin with our base, our pumpkin that will take up a majority of our paper. All right. So first, okay, now there's an echo. Okay, so first what we will be doing is we are going to take up a majority of our paper. So make sure that when you're drawing this pumpkin that you are using the horizontal. So your paper is not this way, not vertical. It's just horizontal because the layout will kind of just look better that way. And you won't have to cram in your pumpkin. Let's see. Okay. First step is, again, always mapping out where you want your things to be. So I will just draw an oval, a very huge oval, light-handed, of where I want my pumpkin to be. And it is a bit uneven, and it kind of looks like an egg. But that is fine. So once I've created this uneven oval, the next thing that I would do is kind of map out each little section of the pumpkin, the grooves of the pumpkin. And I will say that we have 5 sections, and 1 being in the center. So 1 being in the center and then 2 on each side. So with that, trying to create that even spacing, because we will draw in these, just let me, so. Yeah. So in the middle of the pumpkin, I drew a oval, almost an ellipse. And again, this is an organic shape, so I would not stress out about perfect lines. But if you are somebody that wants to have more steady lines, that is also fine. Just going over your rough sketches again. So after that, with our main oval being here, Now it's only a matter of mirroring the other sides. So with that being said, you would create another oval, but more so an ellipse. So they kind of overlap. But again, remember to keep that light hand. So that way you can erase this line. And they all kind of stay on the same side, maintain the same length. So if I had to draw a straight line, they would all kind of fall in this section. So I'll give you a second. After that, what we will do is we will create the same sections on the other side. So we'll also create that oval, kind of maintaining the same length and thickness. And remember, make sure that these are big sections of your pumpkin because we will draw um, like designs and patterns in them. So if your pumpkin is teeny tiny, you're not going to get many designs in it. Whereas I encourage you to have a pumpkin that kind of almost um, comes across off of your paper. I'll also erase my lines, the lines that I don't want to keep. There we go. Our pumpkin is very simple and it's starting to come together. So then we will also repeat the same process. It is kind of already completed for us. But now we just have to determine and kind of rough up those lines. So the outside of the pumpkin is very curved. And it almost looks like one of the phases of the moon, an eclipse, that crescent. And what I'm just doing is kind of making those indents and grooves more defined and known. Also trying to clean up any of the lines I do not want to keep, but only after I'm confident that I don't want to keep them. And see, with this curve, I feel that it's way thinner than this one. So I will just accentuate it. I will just bring it out more. And now that I'm happy with this line, I can erase this one. And if you're using a light hand, again, like I always like to say, if you're using a light hand, erasing these rough lines will be easy and they won't leave a mark on your paper such as this one. But even if they did, it's okay. All right. Next thing, I will clean up this line. And let's see. I'm confident in it, so I'll clean this one up. Now with the, give me one second. Now with the Zen doodles or the Zentangles, the first part is Zen. They're supposed to be calming, relaxing, almost treating them like a coloring book, which is another thing that I would kind of move on to after we've created our pumpkin and we are comfortable with the way it looks and how big it is. And because I made this side of my pumpkin larger, I would make this side of my pumpkin larger, but also knowing that I don't want to take away space from this section where I'm going to be doodling. Now my pumpkin shows that it's a little bit diagonal. That's fine if yours is not, you know, completely, oh, will the camera focus? Okay. It's okay if yours is not completely straight. Mine is a little bit lopsided, but I think that's just because of how the camera is positioned. But I'll give you a second to clean up the left side and then we'll move on to the right side. And they're very similar. And also you'll notice how no matter which way I flip my pumpkin, it still would be mirrored and look the same. Now this section is a little bit thicker and that's fine compared to this one being narrower. But whichever way so far, we haven't added our stem. So, oh, let the camera focus. Okay, so regardless of which way I point my pumpkin, it still looks the same on side to side and top to bottom until I put my little pumpkin stem. And that will be the next step. And we, knock on wood, are doing good for time. And so far the camera has not cut out on me, which is good. Just making sure that everything is smooth sailing. All right. So now we will just repeat the same process, but on the other side. And it is just creating those indents in the pumpkin. The way that I would think of them is that they're kind of just mini triangles. Mini triangles. So a lot of the drawings that we do, we break down into basic shapes because there's geometry and everything. And that's kind of the beauty of it. And again, remember, you're not committed to these lines quite yet. You haven't used pencil colors or pens or something that is not erasable. So if you feel like you don't want to make this the bigger section, you want to make this the center of attention, that's completely fine, but just making sure that your pumpkin is equal on all sides. So I made many lines, kind of deciding which ones to keep, cleaning things up as we go. And I think part of the beauty of this pumpkin is that it does not have, nice lumps and bridges and bumps. It is imperfect. I like how this section is kind of bigger and thicker. And then we have this pumpkin that has just a little unsmooth surface. And because it seems like we will have time, we can always make more miniature pumpkins. Pumpkins that surround our mother pumpkin. Yeah. Just deciding what to keep and what to get rid of. So I will get rid of that guideline at the center, or sorry, at the top. Let's kind of clean it up as best as possible. And then let's see. All right, our pumpkin base, our whole just is kind of completed. All we have to do is now just add the simple stem and the leaves, or maybe just one leaf, whatever you feel like doodling again, because everything kind of will be colored and drawn in on. So for the stem, I would just say it's kind of like a triangle and a mix of a rectangle. So I want to say, I want mine in the center. So I will draw a rough sketch of it's almost floating. Okay, so where it is on my paper, it's not quite at the, hold on. Yeah, it's not quite off of my page, but the camera shows that, it is off of my page. But I have a rectangle that's kind of floating, and then a triangle base that I kind of just blend into the pumpkin. And making sure that these lines are kind of just smooth and organic as much as possible, because with plants, they kind of have their little imperfections. All right. So now with our thick stem is complete, what we will do is just add the vines, those swirly lines, and then a leaf or two. But with that being said, I'll give you a second to kind of feel confident in your pumpkin, because after that, we will begin coloring in our pumpkin and designing it with the, I believe, 1 hour that is left. All right. So I will start off with the vines. So those swirly lines, and kind of just placing them where I think they should be. And there really isn't a technique, but I will start off with maybe a line like this. And trying to keep it smooth and curvy and flowing. And then just on the other side of it, to thicken it up, is following it. So I'm drawing the line side by side. You could make yours thicker or thinner. If you feel like you cannot draw in such a small space, I would say make it a little bit wider. All right. Let's see what else we can draw. I will have a one more vine. One more vine, and we'll have it kind of um, at the front of our pumpkin. So let's see. Okay. So I have my first line, and to create a thick vine, what I will do is see this line. I will just start from the opposite end of it. And I'll recreate the same viney shape. So again, always going with the light hand. And you might not want your um, vines to be one in the air and one on top of your pumpkin. Maybe you kind of want them to go all the way down to the bottom of your page, and that's also fine. You can play around with the placements. And now it's looking a little bit messy, but that's fine. You could always just clean it up. Okay, let's see what we can do. Right, just continuously cleaning up our pumpkin. All right. So now, to fit it into frame, we have a pumpkin complete with the body, the vines, those swirly lines, and the stem. It's a nice fat pumpkin. It takes up a quite big chunk of our page, and that is good because we want to be able to draw patterns and designs inside of them. And I will bring up the reference image again, but we do not have to create the same designs as the reference image. Matter of fact, I will kind of show you what I meant about the coloring page aspect of it. But you can also test out designs, which is what I'll do in this corner, but you can turn the back of your page or maybe just start a complete new page, whatever you like. But I will just test it in the corner. Just yeah, just this square. And I want to create maybe one of the sections, I want them to be polka dotted. So I want to see what I prefer more. Do I prefer them spaced out? Or do I prefer them to be tiny and kind of in between things? Is there a pattern that I want to follow? Is there not really any pattern? Kind of just playing around with things. And it's just a test design. Do I think this would look good if I were to put it in one of the sections here? Um, I could also play around with the color. I can see if I want green circles or maybe I want a different color for my circles. Um, I will say that it tends to be more cleaner um, when you keep one color per one section. Another thing could be, do I want my background to be the colored or do I want my design to be the colored? So we can just see this out in this test patch. Do I prefer if my circles were on a green background? And again, this is just a test patch. You don't have to make it perfect. I prefer if my background was green over my circles being green. And then with a black pencil, I would fill in I would fill my circles and now again, this is only a test patch, so it would not be this rushed and it would not have kind of this many gaps with it. But again, I like this black and green combination. So that is something maybe I want to explore. And another thing is just flipping the page. Another thing is deciding where I want this pattern to be. If it's something that I really love, I think I would want it to take a majority of my page. I would probably have it in the center of my page. Oh, I'm just shedding hair everywhere. I would have it in the middle of my page. Whereas maybe I'm not a fan of this, and maybe but this is the only design I can think of. Maybe I can just have it in this small, tiny trunk. Stem. So again, deciding, does it look better if I had the circles here and using that light hand? Or does it look better if I had circles here? Or maybe I want them in my stem. So kind of just playing around with things. So I will flip my page. Actually, I will show the reference image to kind of show you, again, remind you of the different Zen Doodle designs. And we are just almost across the finish line. So showing you what it is. So immediately, I would really like to do this cool line design. I think that's something I'm interested in. Or there's even something as simple as this line design, where it's just straight lines, straight lines, straight lines all over our vine. We forgot to add the leaf, so we can quickly add the leaf. And that is something good about constantly looking back and forth about your reference images, is that how does my picture look compared to the one on screen? I also like this one. Again, I love how there's triangles and squares in it. This one, all of these designs are really cool. And again, you don't have to place them in the same spots that are in there. We don't have to use these ones. We can use something completely different. But I will show you how to add that leaf, and then we will get to designing our pumpkin. Designing our pumpkin. Let the camera focus. All right, and I would say if you don't want to add a leaf, that is fine. You do not have to add that leaf. Again, you could also choose not to add the vines. But if you want more areas to draw on and kind of fill in, again, why not draw that leaf? I will create that leaf. Again, I'll use a circle. And then making sure it's connected to the trunk. Sorry, stem. Right, and then just erasing this. And you do not have to add a leaf, but again, if you would like to, why not? There you go. Now we have a cute little leaf on our pumpkin, and you can kind of see the outline of where I place those sections of my pumpkin, because I like to press hard on my pencils, but I'm hoping that with your sketches, you don't press hard, so that way you can just erase them and give it that clean, finished look. But again, now I will begin and I will decide where I want my designs to be. I I'm thinking of having maybe I will start off simple. I will create that circular design on why not my leaf? I'll do a circular design on my leaf. Just test it out. All right. And as I am filling in these sections of my pumpkin, I will only color them at the end when I'm happy with where I place my patterns and designs. Um, because if I feel like I should have done the circles in another section, um, I can't really just have two circular sections. You can, but I feel like if you have more designs and patterns and shapes, it'll make it that unique pumpkin, that doodle pumpkin. Um, so I will only color my leaf and other sections of um, the pumpkin once I feel like I'm confident that this is where it needs to be. Also, trying to stay within the lines that we created for ourselves. So if we're having circular designs, um, there's no circular designs that are leaving our page. All right. Up next, what we'll have, I think maybe something along the lines of, just trying to think things through. I think maybe if I had um, a checkered pattern, so trying to keep that straight line, which is not really so straight, so I'll bring a straight edge. All right. So it's starting to look cuter, this pumpkin. See if I can. Yep. All right, making sure that we're using our last 30 minutes effectively. So kind of just placing where our patterns need to be. And then I think I want mm, that checkered pattern. So again, what I will do. mm, really, Let's see if I can work on the other patterns first and then kind of finalize them at the end. Okay, let's see. For this one, I want kind of a groovy. Hmm. Oh my goodness. All right, so far, very basic, just circles, lines, and curvier lines. Um, I am thinking of perhaps creating kind of fish scales our on our pumpkin. Let's see, we can create those fish scales. Let's see. Mm, they almost look like, yeah, fish scales, maybe dragon scales. Let's see. And our pumpkin is slowly coming along together. We could even make it spooky. So if you don't want just a fall pumpkin, let's say you want to be in that Halloween spirit, and it's not mandatory, maybe you want to draw a silly face on it. Um, maybe if you just want to, not sure if it picks up. You can draw a silly face if you would like, but I will keep mine without the silly face. I kind of just want to create those lines first, and the grooves and the patterns, and that way once all my pumpkin is done with its patterns, all I have to do is just color it in, um, kind of like my own personal coloring book. Very therapeutic, calming, relaxing. Not much thinking goes into it. Okay. And continuing with those scales. Now it is getting bigger. So let's see. Do not be afraid to clean things up as you are working. Okay, no problem. If you guys have something that has come up, no problem. It is recorded. So um, that way you can catch up when you would like. And I'm hoping, again, that you, in case there are any other technical difficulties in the future, God forbid, you can always just find them on the YouTube channel. So the gemstone, again, can be found on the YouTube channel. So do not feel worried if you aren't able to make it to one of these videos. That's fine. It is both live streamed and recorded. Okay, there we go. It actually kind of looks like a braid almost. Right? Again, we're starting off basic, then going into something more detailed. But as we finish each of our sections, because there are 5 sections, not counting the leaf, not counting the stem or the vines. So 3 out of our 5 are done, so 2 remain. I will say, I kind of want just a crazy zigzag pattern. So what I will do is grab, again, my straight edge. And again, I'm just using the other side of the notebook. If you have a ruler, that is also good. But again, at the same time, hey, whatever you have laying next to you will do just fine. So what I want to do is kind of just crazy. Almost triangular slices, but not quite. So there's really a lot of geometry in our pumpkin. And hold on, this is falling off the screen. So we have our pumpkin, which is, you know, geometrical in nature. Although it has organic lines, it still has that geometry aspect to it. We started off with an oval, and then we kind of split it up into crescents. And then the same for the trunk, or the stem, sorry, I keep calling it the trunk. Same with the stem. It started off with a rectangle and then a triangle for the base, or with the leaves, one leaf, circular, and then triangle tip. And then here we have those lines, very straight lines, curvy lines, kind of lines all over the place. So I have my zigzag pattern, and then so far it doesn't look busy. Okay, then I will have my flower pattern. I want flowers on my pumpkin. So, what will I do? So for this one, let's see. Let me try that again. Yeah, maybe teardrops is better. And I can, repeat that process over my pumpkin. And why not also add more circles? The less empty space, the better. Let's see. I'm going to change the orientation. Let's see. Maybe not circles. And that's a lovely thing about working with pencil first, is actually I don't want to do circles. I think I have enough circles elsewhere on my pumpkin. And I can erase things that I don't want. And again, since this is your pumpkin, you're free to draw whatever pattern you want, however difficult you want it to be. As long as there's something to fill in, I don't see why there should be a problem. I'm getting rid of this circle. I'll let the camera focus. Okay. Yep. You can choose how much time you want to spend on each design. That is up to you. I think with this side, I think it's beautiful. I don't want to add more to it. So this side I feel like is done and ready to be colored, whereas these sections I feel like they need to be kind of more worked. But again, I'm just only starting off with the basics, and we do still have, I want to say roughly 20 minutes, which is still a nice chunk of time, but kind of working a little bit quicker. Let's see. The next thing that I want would be maybe, hmm. Let's see, what do I want? Kind of just thinking through, but if you know what you want, you put that on the paper. You do not wait. You just put your idea straight onto the paper. Put pen to paper, sorry. But I'm just having a little bit of difficult time thinking of what I could possibly want on my page. Let's see. Let's start off with this one. I think the vines, sorry, should be the easiest part, considering that there's not much space to work with. What I'm doing is just I'm creating those coils. Don't forget to sharpen your pencil. You'll get better details, sharper lines. Um, the pencil isn't um, on its last leg. And I'm maintaining that same distance, the width between each of the lines. All right. Our pumpkin is looking lovely. I can't wait to see yours. Um, with that being said, we still have, I want to say roughly 19 more minutes. But our pumpkin is looking cute and very well decorated. With that being said, you can also do this on an actual pumpkin. If you don't want to carve one, you can just paint on it and draw on it and just set it on your porch. But again, this could be just a fall activity, or maybe you want to create it to be very Halloween specific and draw that face in, but I will not do that. I think I just like coloring in my pumpkin more. All right, next up, the design that I want. I think I also am going to do some straight lines on the top of, let me fix the light. All right. I will do some straight lines on the top of my pumpkin. Again, I'm just grabbing a straight edge. You can use your ruler, you can use the back of the paper. I'm just using the back of the book. Maybe you have perfect straight lines and you've practiced so long. All right, there you go. Now you might say, why are there two line designs? One of them, this one, I will turn into a checkerboard. This one I will just keep simple basic stripes. So, and just 1 second. Let's see. I can show you an example. Just making sure I grab my pencil sharpener to make sure my pencils are not going to give me a difficult time. Oh, so for this one, what I want to do is I think what I'll do is make that stem for yourself, make it red. And you could use whatever color you want. And if you don't want to use color, that is also fine. If you think that you're just happy with the way your pumpkin looks, that's completely fine. Oh, but all I'm doing is just coloring in my pumpkin. Keeping that straight line that I worked hard for. And usually you would erase your pencil marks first. But for the sake of this video, because I want you to be able to kind of see what I'm doing, I'm always keeping my pencil lines first. So there's always a little bit of messiness to it. But I like my stripes. Kind of touching them up. Now I'll do, let's see. I can also show you the the circles. For the circles, I think they would look better if I colored around them. And again, you would erase your pencil marks. I'm choosing to work with different colors because I think it just makes it look unique and more interesting. All right, trying to stay in that line, trying to make sure our colors are well blended and smoothed out. All right. So far, looking cute. Nice pumpkin. I think it's only appropriate that our pumpkin has some orange in it. So I'll create this section to be orange. And here's how, just give me 1 second. Here's how it would look like if I didn't have those harsh lines. So just kind of lightly going over them. Just making sure if this is orange, and it is. Now you can decide whether you want to color those teardrop shapes or you want the background to be colored because again, it looks different whether you decide what do you want to be the main focus. Do you want the background to be the main focus or like to pop off of the page, or do you want your design to pop off the page? Both are equally as good, but I do prefer to color larger sections of my pumpkin than smaller sections. You could also just skip drawing with pencil and go straight into pencil color. But again, if you aren't confident in drawing pumpkins or anything else for that matter, maybe using a pencil is the better option because you can erase pencil, but not the color. But if you feel very confident, you think that it's okay, I don't need guidelines, I don't need sketches, you could always just use a pencil and skip that step. And I could just keep coloring. But again, for the sake of time, I will continue designing my pumpkin. And I can just leave the coloring to be something that is off camera. And I can show you on our next class. We do have 9 more minutes. So with those 9 more minutes, I will see if there are any other designs that I want to do. So for our pumpkin, oh, I love your pumpkin. Okay. Anybody else have one that they want to share? Even if it's not colored, even if it's just the lines. Oh, I love it. And I love how large your pumpkins are. That's good. The larger, the better.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, it's my grandson.
Oh, hi. Yeah, I love the pumpkins. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I colored this yellow part.
Oh, you colored this yellow part? That's really good.
Thank you.
Now he knows how to draw a pumpkin.
He attended this class.
That's good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so for our last 7 minutes, I can just play around with any other designs maybe. So maybe I want to start on my checkerboard. So again, we have our lines straight across. What I can do is just now make them horizontal. And again, these are just very nice and simple shapes. I think what makes it better is the let's see, the coloring part, is it is very therapeutic. And also kind of rewarding as well. You made this and now you're getting to color it. And I think that's really lovely. Let's see. All right. So again, our pumpkin is not perfect, and that's fine. That's no pumpkins are perfect for sure because again, they're organic. They get planted, they kind of grow. Um, let's see. I am thinking maybe I can do maybe I can do a blue. Let's see if I have a blue color. Let's see. Yeah, and now really it's just drawing, coloring, drawing, coloring. And also you can decide how hard you want to press. So going back to our test square, um, let me just draw that test square. Yeah. So you can decide again how hard you want to press or how light. So you can have those different shades of blue. So if you want to have a really bright pumpkin, press as hard as you can, but don't break the pencil, obviously. Um, but maybe you want something lighter. Maybe you want a gradient. So it means going from dark to light. All right. And you would just repeat this process again and again, again for the rest of your pumpkin. So there are 4 minutes remaining. If you just kind of want to stay and color, that's fine. But if you want to color on your own time, that's also fine. Um, you're free to do whatever you would like. So again, make sure you're taking your time, you aren't rushing. There really is no deadline on coloring. Um, all right, with just 2 minutes remaining, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. We will continue with pencil and we will continue with paper. So make sure you have your eraser with you. Let's see, your sharpener with you, a pencil, and your paper. Anybody else want to show me their pumpkin with 1 minute remaining? And then I'll see you on next class. Next class is, let me see, I believe it should be November 3rd. So next class is Monday, November 3rd. Oh, and I can just write the dates on our pumpkin. Let's see. Monday, today is October 27, 2025. Oh, I love your pumpkin. I love how you use purple.